Hello and welcome, everyone. My son told me to choose my words carefully today. I don't know if I can do that. There are so many thoughts and feelings swirling in my head right now. So I will simply say, I am an American. I believe in our democracy and our right to a free election. And I do believe that justice will prevail in our nation. I'm grateful to the governor for allowing me to speak today. I'm also thrilled that he chose our small business to highlight his new economic recovery package. I believe this choice to sign his bill at our location proves his dedication to small business throughout New Jersey. Let me first say that our thoughts and our prayers go out to all those who have been affected by this pandemic. No one has not been touched in some way. As a small business owner, it's been difficult navigating through these tough times. However, thanks to our local officials in Hamilton Township and our state government, I've been able to take advantage of several programs that were put in place to help us. One of those programs I want to talk about just quickly, it was called the Njeda e-commerce technical assistance program. It was a huge success for us. Communicating with our customers during the pandemic was more important than ever. And this program linked us with the website-based experience we needed to embellish our online presence and to capture sales. The small business we worked with, Positive Solutions, was wonderful. It was a joint venture between our state government and our small business, and that made things happen for us. This is what the governor is putting forward today. To all small businesses throughout New Jersey, I would implore you to take advantage of any and all programs put forth by our governor. These programs are vital for us as small business owners. In particular, an important part of this bill for our shop and our community will be the Main Street Recovery Program. I'm looking forward to working with our local officials, who, by the way, have been doing a fantastic job in Hamilton Township, to bring this program to fruition. It will not only benefit our small business, but it will empower and brighten our entire community. There are two words that we desperately need now in our vocabulary. One is change and the other is opportunity. I am proud to introduce a man that optimizes both of these words for the future. Please welcome our governor, Governor Phil Murphy.
Thank you all. Let's hear it for Connie. Connie Corella and her family. I'll come back to them in a minute, but hats off to you, Connie. Nice to see you. Please forgive us and forgive me for going off topic for a second, if I may. The fact that we woke up this morning to the reality of President-elect Joe Biden's election formalized by the United States Congress is proof that our democracy is stronger than an unhinged mob. The scene that unfolded yesterday in the Capitol building will go down as one of the darkest days in our nation's history. Every insurrectionist who tried to overthrow the free and fair election of President-elect Biden should be identified, arrested, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law for desecrating the cradle of American democracy. They should be given no quarter. They are not patriots. They are the antithesis of what it means to be an American. This was not a protest. It was an act of domestic terrorism spurred on by the president himself and his minions. The president's refusal to accept the reality that he lost an election created this. His years of lies and willful misinformation created this. His belief that the laws don't apply to him created this. His spewing of unfounded conspiracy theories created this. His unwillingness to understand even the basic precepts of the Constitution created this. I am relieved that members of Congress on both sides of the aisle were all safe and were able to complete their constitutionally mandated task of counting and formalizing Joe Biden's and Kamala Harris' election as our 46th president of the United States. In 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now, with his inauguration, the renewal of America will begin in earnest. Some news. So last evening we deployed 74 New Jersey state troopers to Washington, D.C. They were on guard around the Capitol between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. this morning. They are armed. They're off until they're back on again at 2 o'clock this afternoon. That was a result of a direct conversation I had with Washington, D.C.'s Mayor Muriel Bowser. In addition, I have deployed 500 members of the New Jersey National Guard to Washington, D.C. That deployment will take place over tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday to assist in the peaceful transfer of power from one administration to another. They will likely be there at least through the inauguration. I trust they will represent the highest values of our state and our republic. I wish them and our troopers nothing but the very best, and please God they stay safe. I thank Interim Adjutant General Colonel Dr. Lisa Howe, with whom I also spoke yesterday, State Police Superintendent Colonel Pat Callahan, for their leadership. Make no mistake, yesterday was no accident. It was the result of 4 years of gaslighting and concerted attempts from within to weaken our democracy. But our democracy proved more resilient than the deranged conspiracy theories. And for that, I say, and I know you join me, God bless America. So with that, good morning again, everybody. Connie, thank you so much for your good words. Hamilton is truly one of New Jersey's gems, close-knit neighborhoods anchored by community-minded small businesses, many of which have been here multiple generations, and that includes businesses like Corella's Chocolates and Corella's Shoes. And to Connie Corella Dalton, and through you to your family, which has kept the legacy your grandfather started here 75 years ago alive and well, thank you for your passionate words and your introduction, and thank you for allowing us to take over your parking lot. I have to say, I just picked up and bought 5 pieces of extremely good-looking milk chocolate. Connie and I first met because I gave Corella's Chocolates a shout-out on October 22nd because the EDA, under Tim Sullivan's leadership and his team, had forwarded a $2,000 grant to Corella's Chocolate, and I know they were grateful for that. I'm honored to be here by a cavalcade of incredible leaders. From our administration, there are many folks here. I know I see, obviously, behind me, my partner in government, the Rockin' Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, New Jersey Economic Development Authority CEO Tim Sullivan, Labor Commissioner Rob Acero, Angelo Deputy Chief of Staff Joe Kelly is here. We're also joined by Senate President Steve Sweeney, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. We have Senator Teresa Ruiz. Is Paul Sarlo here? Paul, are you here? Paul is supposed to be here. Paul Sarlo, Assembly Majority Leader, I think Lou Greenwald is supposed to be, Assemblywoman and Chairwoman Ileana Pinter-Marin. Dan Benson, Assemblyman Wayne D'Angelo right in front of me, who, by the way, importantly is also President of the Mercer County Building and Construction Trades Council. Wayne, great to have you. Special shout out to Andrew Zwicker, who could not be here. We have, I know behind me, because I wished him Happy New Year, New Jersey Building and Construction Trades Council President Bill Mullen. I think we're being joined by 32BJ's Kevin Brown, among other leaders of labor, our WDSU President Charles Hall, Mike Maloney. Mike, you're here because I waved at you. Nice to see you, man. Mercer County Central Labor Council President, UA Local 9 Business Manager and Secretary Treasurer, Bricklayers Secretary Treasurer Kevin Duncan in the back, all the way in from Middlesex County. Great to see you. I'm told Sam Ferrano, President of UFCW 360 is here. We have, I know, Vice President for Urban Innovation and Audible, Aisha Glover. Aisha, good morning. President of the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce, Priti Pandya Patel. Priti, great to have you. State Chamber of Commerce President. I saw Mike Eggington. Is Tom Bracken here as well? Tom, you here? Nice to see you, man. Good morning. Chamber of Commerce President, CEO. African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey President, CEO, co-founder, or founder rather, John Harmon. NAOPS, New Jersey CEO right in front of me, Mike McGinnis, among so many others. Michelle Sakirka, I saw you, Michelle. Great to have you here. I also want to recognize many of the local leaders who have stood with us, including Janice, you're here, right? Janice? Clinton Mayor and President of the New Jersey State League of Municipalities, Janice Kovach. I see East Windsor Mayor and Mercer County Democratic Chair Janice Mironoff. Trenton Mayor, I think Reed Yasura was coming. Reed, nice to see you. Thank also Mercer County Executive dear friend Brian Hughes. Hamilton Mayor for hosting us, Jeff Martin. Thank you for that. And to each and every one of you, good morning. I'm sure I've missed some folks. So there are probably a few people wondering why we're in the parking lot of a small business to see the enactment of the Next Generation Economic Incentive Package for our state. After all, incentives are set aside only for big corporations, right? Well, starting today, that could not be more wrong. That's the old way of thinking. That doesn't mean it won't apply necessarily to big corporations, but the days when it only applied to big ones are over. Our future rides on the backs of the small businesses who employ the majority of our fellow residents, especially those owned and operated by women, people of color, and veterans. The small businesses who are first in line to benefit when a new project nearby breaks ground. And I'm particularly pleased that this initiative's $50 million investment in our Main Street small businesses through grants, loans, and other assistance, so they could be at the head of our recovery. Our future rides on the entrepreneurs with big and innovative ideas, but who need capital to get their vision to market. And it rides with communities like this, ready to see their historic building stocks or brownfields repurposed and their streets re-energized. This is how we propel our economy moving forward to be a strong and resilient post-COVID reality and future. There's so much throughout this package that is good for our state. Strong protections for our union brothers and sisters, a commitment to eradicating food deserts, a vision for turning urban brownfields and long ignored properties into accessible, walkable, affordable, and active communities where good jobs are created and people can live, work, and raise their families. We built this program on the twin pillars of transparency and fairness to fuel the creation of good-paying, future-focused jobs and ensured sensible spending caps and strong safeguards to protect taxpayers and communities. Greg Coughlin, I didn't mention you, did I? I did? Nice to see you. I don't know why that just occurred to me. Thank you, Speaker. Craig Coughlin has now been mentioned twice. I'm particularly proud to inaugurate the New Jersey Innovation Evergreen Fund, which will pair state resources with private venture capital investments into a diverse array of New Jersey-based startups. Quite simply, this will be a game changer in our efforts to remake New Jersey as the global center for innovative new businesses working at the leading edge of the future economy. I'm also proud that we'll be creating the state's first historic preservation tax credit. For a state with such a history as ours, it's almost unfathomable that we hadn't done this before. We know from examples across the nation that repurposing historic buildings, instead, by the way, of knocking them down, will create good new jobs for our union trades and new homes for business, while strengthening the core of communities by honoring their pasts. Gone are the days of viewing incentives and economic growth as a zero-sum game. It's no longer about winners and losers. With this suite of incentives, the benefits of economic incentives will be able to radiate outward to transform whole communities and indeed our state for the better. It's no longer a question of what can I get for me, it's now a matter of what's best for our collective future. Moreover, we're charting this new course for economic growth and resilience for our state. And this journey begins here in Hamilton, because in so many ways, Hamilton reflects the tremendous advantages and values of New Jersey. First, obviously, is location. We're centered here between the largest market in the world, which is New York City, and the East Coast's busiest port, the ports of Elizabeth and Newark, and one of the nation's fastest growing markets in Philadelphia. And we are interconnected with one of the nation's leading rail and highway networks. We are in a community with countless families who are benefiting from the strength of our statewide public education system and from the workforce development and apprenticeship programs that we have invested in. And we're here today in a county that also exemplifies the reach of our higher education network in preparing a dynamic workforce, whether it be Mercer County Community College, the College of New Jersey, or Princeton University. And of course, the people of Hamilton mirror the values we find all across our state, the values of family and community, of diversity, and of hard work. This economic program ties into each of these and ties each of them together. I know getting to this moment has been long and arduous and not without its bumps, but I thank everyone, progressive allies and grassroots community organizations and stakeholders up and down the state who stayed with us every step of the way. I want to give a particular shout out to State Senate President Steve Sweeney and Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. One of the things that kept us going was the knowledge that we all had the same end result in mind: a stronger, fairer, and more resilient economic future for our state. Now we have to put these incentives to work. We have to make this vision and promise a reality. I have no doubt that these incentives, implemented fairly and equitably, will power us forward and support directly and indirectly thousands of good jobs. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank everybody who worked with us to get to this day. It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce my partner in government. Please help me welcome the Lieutenant Governor and Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, the one and only Sheila Oliver.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I guess you've figured out by now that Governor Murphy spent quite a bit of time in the state of Massachusetts, in the city of Boston. And you know that New England is known for its brisk winters. And I have to tell you, Governor Murphy, you look like you're not missing a beat traveling around the state in the middle of the winter. But good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank Governor Murphy for bringing this particular bill to the table this morning. I know that my former colleagues in the legislature, and you see them, several of them represented here today, have long wanted to create economic incentives and economic growth bills for a very long period of time. And as the governor made reference to, in prior years, you know, if you look at the history of our EDA, it seemed as if the focus was always on big business in New Jersey. But as the governor pointed out, we know, we've been saying it for decades, small businesses are the backbone of the economy, not just in New Jersey, but across the country. If we look at where people work in New Jersey, most people work in small, medium-sized businesses. So I'm so pleased that this bill contains so many elements of things that are really needed by small businesses. And to Connie Carell, I want to tell you, I don't know how you make chocolate and remain so thin. You've got to tell me the secret of that. But just think about a chocolate manufacturer right here in Hamilton with a gift shop and products. Given the right type of support, Carella Chocolates can continue to expand, grow, and send its product literally all over the world. And I think that the package that will be signed into law today represents every element of what has been learned from many small businesses through the years in New Jersey. So, you know, as DCA Commissioner, we have a program called Main Street New Jersey, and we work with businesses on downtown corridors to, you know, really drive that town center concept. Our New Jersey Redevelopment Authority that is attached to the department also works with small businesses, and they're creating a new initiative that's called Mind Your Business, and we will be providing technical assistance to small businesses around the state. So I just want to congratulate all of the legislators who worked hard. I know it was an arduous task putting this bill together. Governor Murphy meeting, you know, consistently with the leadership, Speaker Coughlin and Senator Sweeney, and Assemblywoman Ileana Pintor-Marin, Senator Ruiz, and others. But thank you so much, Connie, for allowing us to be here today. And, you know, Hamilton, we consider our next door neighbor. So now I know where to tell the detail to come when I want a snack. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. And Connie, we hope your business continues to expand and grow. And if I spend any more time in your shop, I will also continue to expand and grow. With that, listen, I mentioned these guys in my remarks. Sheila, thank you for yours and your leadership. This doesn't get done with great leadership in both chambers, and we've got representatives from both chambers. Let's begin with a guy who was there all the way through. Cannot thank him enough for his leadership and partnership on this. Senate President Steve Sweeney.
Since we're in the shade, I'm going to be brief. I told the governor, sunny, warm, cold, but this is a huge day for the state of New Jersey. And I want to thank Governor Murphy, Lieutenant Governor Oliver, my partner, the Speaker of the Assembly, and in my house, Teresa Ruiz and Paul Sarlo, for coming up with a bill that's actually making an investment. This is not a giveaway. This has been talked about by the opponents completely wrong. This is about investing in the state of New Jersey's future. This is critically important. Look, we were a long time without an incentive program, and it didn't help us. But it brought us to the table to make a better deal. And I think we made an outstanding deal. And when people actually start to read it, not hear the clips, but actually read the bill, you'll find out that we ensured opportunities throughout the state for every county in the state to benefit from this. And that's what this is all about, and that's what it's always been about, is fairness, equity, and investment. So, Governor, I want to thank you. We came up with a very good bill. And you know, the word compromise, maybe in Washington they can learn it. It's not a bad thing. It's not poisonous. It's actually a very good thing. Now, I also want to recognize my colleague, Linda Greenstein, in the Senate here too, in her home district. So to everyone, thank you for being here. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. It was a long time coming, but it was worth the wait. Thank you.
Steve and I were quoting Joe Biden, as you may recall, what he said to Barack Obama when they signed the Affordable Care Act. It's a big deal. Linda, I didn't see. I apologize. Nice to see you, and Happy New Year. I want to underscore one thing Steve said. This is a bill, the more you read it, the more you get into it, the better it looks. And it's got all the stuff that all of us had talked about with great passion having. Steve, thank you. Again, it takes a village, it takes two chambers and outstanding leaders. Please help me welcome one of them, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here. You know, after one of the darkest and most shameful days in the history of the United States, it's good to have the morning when we come back and we focus on the hope and future, and today is just that day. So let me first thank the Carrillas for hosting us this morning, for all of the people who were part and parcel of the success of this incredibly important and strong bill. Of course, the Governor, my partner and colleague in the legislature, Senate President Steve Sweeney, the Budget Chair, Ileana Pinto-Marin, who's the sponsor of the bill, and along with Senator Teresa Ruiz, who worked so hard on getting this bill across the line. And this is really a good and important bill. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say how much hard work went into this, and I'd like to especially point out two of the people in my office who work so hard. Dan Harris, who most of you know, and Kat Tung, who most of you will really want to get to know because she's a real true superstar. They worked so hard in getting this bill across the goal line, so thank you for that. Thank you all for coming out, because I think you all recognize how important this bill is for the future of New Jersey. And we were criticized some for doing this as quickly as we did, but the truth of the matter is what this bill does is, because it is so broad in its scope and covers so many potential areas for growth and development, and brings so many jobs to New Jersey, it was important that we position ourselves to be ready for the inevitable recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic results. And so we positioned ourselves there by doing it. And this bill, as I said, covers so many things, from Main Street to big businesses that will attract and retain business employees here, because that's what's at the heart of this, is the creation and retention of jobs. But it does other things too. It addresses burgeoning industries like the wind industry and the film industry, and something near and dear to my heart, food deserts. The bill allows us to have an incentive program to eliminate the shame of people living in a food desert. Gives them the opportunity to have healthy and nutritious food. and across the state lets us be a hub for innovation and moving our economy forward in the way that we have talked about for so long. This is, as the governor and Senate President both pointed out, the more you read this bill, and it takes some time to read it, I've fallen asleep many times in the process of doing just that. The truth of the matter is, the more times you read it, the more you understand how good and important this is, and what an impactful bill this will be on the future economy of the state of New Jersey. So, congratulations to everyone involved, and thank you for your leadership. It was a privilege and a pleasure to work through this one, and we're going to do good things based on this bill in the years to come for New Jersey. Thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to give you a particular shout out, as you said, on food deserts. You'll be happy to know that our team has already had a meeting specifically on food deserts, and Tim and his squad are going to have to promulgate the rules for all of these programs, but that's one of the ones that we've got as a high priority, and thanks to you for that. I mentioned we've got great leaders in both chambers. I want to go back to the Senate. There's a big Newark, even though we're in Hamilton and Mercer County, there's a big Newark team here today. And in so many respects, Newark in the top 5 or 10 communities, including this one in terms of population, as they go, the state goes. And please help me welcome another great leader in the Senate, Chairwoman and Senator Teresa Ruiz.
So unlike the governor who has New England roots, my blood comes from an island, so I'm freezing this morning. Good morning to everyone. I want to take an opportunity too that everybody I think woke up this morning in the state of New Jersey and in this country with a pit in their stomach. And how wonderful it is to pivot in a state that recognizes that government is not about one person, but it's about people and democracy, and that this signing today echoes that sentiment. Unity, cultivation of different ideologies, passionate opportunities to talk and to share, and to tell everyone in the state of New Jersey that unlike what has happened, we will not be defined by one moment, by one individual's words or actions, but by a collective conscience that recognizes what this country is truly about. The process of this bill was long and arduous, and there was a lot of conversation. I want to take an opportunity to recognize our Senate staff, Kevin Drennan and Erica Nava, who put hours beyond the call of duty to be sure that we were creating a bill that offers promise, to make the state of New Jersey an innovative place where when people are looking to open new economic frontiers in their doors, they will point to the Garden State to say, that's exactly where we're going to launch this next initiative. It can nurture venture capital that can uncover new industry. It can cultivate our workforce into new high-growth industries. It has a myriad of social responsibility measures in there that not only opens its door to new economic frontiers, but brings along the people in the community where that new development can open. It can build affordable housing, create new retail spaces, and like this institution, offer a small business on Main Street that defines the cornerstone of our neighborhoods an opportunity to stay open and to expand. Senate President, I don't know if you were aware, but Connie has been in connection with our office for a long time. The Senate leadership buys gifts for all of our staff, and for the last several years, we've been sending sweet treats to all of our members in our offices, right from here, right from Hamilton, right from inside your footprint. There was a lot that was said about this bill, and I have to tell you, as a Norker, born and raised and raising the next generation in my household, I can tell you what I saw, what economic opportunity incentive bills do. It took a flat top parking lot and developed a residential building where there was no opportunity to see what next generation economic incentives could do. It took a former department store where I used to shop as a child and opened its doors to a Whole Foods, a Rutgers bookstore, retail, expanded retail medical facilities on the first floor, and rental opportunities upstairs. It took a former cathedral that's on the historic preservation list and flung open its choir doors to an industry that really is synonymous with what we're trying to accomplish here. A tech industry that's bringing along the residents in the city of Newark into this new venture. And so to the Senate President, to the Assembly Speaker, and of course to our Governor and my friend Sheila Oliver, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for taking the initiative. Thank you for taking the launch. And let's move New Jersey into a stronger, greater, brighter, innovative place where people are thinking about how do we support small business, how do we open a new business, how do we talk about innovation. They will talk about the Garden State. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that the two sponsors of this bill hail from the great city of Newark, and the fortitude and the work that my partner and colleague, Assemblywoman Eliana Marin, put in. We would stay on the phone until 11 o'clock at night. We used to have kids that span the age between the 4 and 7. And so I have to tell, I won't put everything on the record of what we say on those phone calls because you'd have to bleep half of it out. But just great to have a partner consistently all the time from home. I think I saw Telemundo here, so you'll just give me an opportunity to just share a few words. Hoy este proyecto de ley se lleva a cabo una oportunidad para el estado de New Jersey para abrir nuestros edificios a oportunidades nuevas para industria y también para apoyar los negocios en nuestros barrios. Un proyecto de ley que trae toda la comunidad junta con el gobernador y con el liderazgo del Senado y Asamblea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Again, you need both chambers, and you need great leadership in both chambers. And I mentioned there's a lot of Newark in the House today. Let's go back to the Assembly. Please help me welcome one of those terrific leaders, Chairwoman, Assemblywoman Ileana Pinter-Marin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm trying to catch up to the governor. My daughter does have soccer practice outside. I was trying to figure out if it was colder last night or if it's colder this morning. I just want to say thank you to the Assembly Speaker, to the Senate President, to everyone who worked on this bill, to our incredible staff at the Majority Office, to the Governor and your team, to Senator Ruiz. Obviously, we won't go into the conversations besides the bill, but this has been a great work within the last 2 years. We really started this process. It's taken a long time to get here, but today is a new day. I don't want to reflect on the negativity of yesterday because I think that we have a lot to move forward starting from today. Today, the state of New Jersey is put on a competitive playing field with the surrounding states. Today, the state of New Jersey will be offering what other states offer and even more. It's even more because there's a little bit of everything in here. There's a little bit for small businesses, for medium-sized businesses, for corporations that are taking a serious look at the state of New Jersey, and it washes away any rhetoric that was said before where New Jersey wasn't open for business. Starting from today, when the governor signs this bill, New Jersey is open for business and will continue to be open for business. New Jersey has some of the smartest young people that we want to retain here. New Jersey has some of the most interesting, dynamic incubators that are starting, and some of it comes from the city of Newark. So today is a fresh start for us all. It's a start that shows that New Jersey, unlike other places and in other states, and especially at our federal level, there's an echo of compromise here. If we work together, we talk it out, we can get to the finish line. So Governor, Lieutenant Governor, thank you very much. I think all of us are very proud. And before I leave, no bill is ever perfect, and we understand that. But I think that all of us here are really proud of all the work that we've done. Burning the midnight oil in the last couple of weeks. I don't know, but I was a little happier for Christmas just because I didn't have to talk about it or read the bill over and over again. So for us, I think it truly is a new year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ileana. I'm going to call a quick audible because he's here, and I asked him if he could say a very brief word. Another great leader, going back to the Senate, the chair of the Senate Budget Committee, and a leader on this and on so much else. Please help me welcome Senator and Chairman and Mayor Paul Sarlo.
Thank you, Governor, and to my colleagues in the Senate and the Assembly. It was an honor and pleasure to work with you on this significant piece of legislation. I've had the opportunity to chair the Budget Committee in the Senate now for going on almost 12 years, and over those years, we have seen so many different bills come through to try to make us the most competitive state as possible. What's great about this piece of legislation, after all of the reviews and all of the task force, we have compiled it and put it into one large chunk, and there's something in there for everybody, from the manufacturers to the downtown businesses, to the larger industries, to our partners on the collective bargaining side and our building trade partners. This legislation in totality will make us a much more competitive state and sends a strong message to everybody. Post-pandemic, our doors are open for business. So glad to be part of it. Look forward to the implementation of it. That is going to be very critical. We need to make sure we cut through the bureaucracy and the red tape to make sure that this program works for all of you and all of New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for your leadership and for your words. So we mentioned this is as labor protective and labor acknowledging as any set of incentives anywhere in the United States, period. And it needs to be, because we are the quintessential organized labor state. And it's both how the stuff gets built, but also how it gets operated and maintained once it's built. So please help me welcome a great labor leader representing thousands of folks who maintain and keep up buildings up and down the state. Please help me welcome Kevin Brown from 32.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to first thank, of course, Governor Murphy, Lieutenant Governor Oliver, Senate President Sweeney, Speaker Coughlin, Senator Ruiz, Assemblywoman Pinto-Marin, Senator Sarlo, for making sure that these jobs that are created, not just for construction, but also for the permanent jobs, as the governor said, are good jobs. We represent 13,000 service workers across the state of New Jersey. Security officers, janitors, handymen, concierges, porters, all of those workers who maintain office buildings and residential buildings across the state. People of color, the majority of them. And that's why it's so critical that we have a thriving real estate industry, which we're so proud that this bill will help, but also that the jobs that are created are good jobs. Good jobs for the construction workers who will build them, and good jobs for the permanent jobs that will be there to service and maintain and high quality buildings with high quality wages and benefits, which make our communities stronger and which makes New Jersey a stronger state. We recognize that the tax provisions are necessary for this to happen, and we're proud to see that New Jersey's taken measures to make this a reality. We're looking forward to the enactment as the governor signs the bill into law today. It'll not only make a healthy and thriving real estate market, which is important to us as well, but it will make lives better over time for hundreds, if not thousands, of janitors and porters and concierges and security officers, the people, the essential workers that make New Jersey work, make our country work at sites across the state. Thank you very much, and I'm very proud that we're including these workers in today's bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and to all your colleagues. I'm going to bounce back and forth a little bit. We're almost there, folks, in case you're starting to get frostbite. She works now at Audible as the Vice President of Urban Innovation, but I met Aisha Glover when she worked with Raz J. Baraka and did an incredible job in what is the ongoing transformation of the brick city, Newark, New Jersey. And now she's doing a great job in a private sector setting. She also happens to be on the board of the Economic Development Authority and works closely with Tim and Chairman Kevin Quinn. Please help me welcome Aisha Glover.
sitting over there figuring out what lines I could cross out so we can get through this quickly. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Governor. Thank you to the entire legislature. Lieutenant Governor, I just want to acknowledge today and all of those who made it happen, and we'll speak briefly on two topics, Newark, of course, and compliance measures in the bill. And everyone knows that I can talk about Newark for days, and since we are all cold, I will not. And I will start just quickly on the compliance side and keep that short. There are important and common sense protections that provide for greater accountability and oversight in this bill. And as the governor mentioned, I am on the EDA board. And as members, we ask the questions on program effectiveness and assessment. And I know how diligent Tim Sullivan and his staff work, but I'm encouraged by the onboarding of a new chief compliance officer. And the other three components that I want to commend the governor and the legislature on are the caps on all the programs, job creation awards limited to what is needed to actually incent the projects, and requirements of a CBA that will require training, employment, and youth development. These are not just common sense protections, but obviously also good policy. I'm jumping back and forth a little bit. I'm inspired to think about how quickly and how important this legislation is for programs that have laid dormant for quite some time around the city. I'm reminded of the fact that small businesses and locally owned shops are the backbones of our communities, and programs like the Main Street Recovery Finance will provide direct relief in a time when business closures continue to increase, reaching nearly 60% that will be permanently closed. It is why programs like Newark Working Kitchens that keep local restaurants open while supplying meals to the most in need can serve as models across the state and the country. I'm inspired by the Community Anchored Development Program that will help finance development by anchor institutions across the state and in Newark, including the Newark Museum, potentially Rutgers, NJ-PAC, or RWJ Barnabas. Beyond this being a real estate play, institutions like these also have demonstrated strong hire and buy local initiatives, maximizing their economic impact in the communities in which they're based. I'm hopeful about the New Jersey Innovation Evergreen Fund, and I won't cite the deeply deficient statistics about the percentage of venture funding across our country that goes to women, people of color, or both, because if you don't know, you have been under a rock. But I will say that as one of the most diverse states in the country, we can and should be intentional about how we leverage this opportunity to not only attract more venture capital to our state, but prioritize ventures utilizing MBEs or WBEs, which is precisely what the Evergreen Fund does. And with existing successful efforts underway in New Jersey, such as Newark Venture Partners, an internationally renowned impact fund that was ranked among the top 10 in the entire country for micro-venture capital funds investing in Black and Latinx founders, we do have the ability to be distinctive, and our impact can be real. And as the Assemblywoman said, no legislation is perfect. There is so much more that we can be doing, particularly to close the systemic gaps that have existed for years in our country and in our state that did not begin, by the way, in March of last year. We continue to need solutions that are stronger and fairer and recognize and account for this inequity, creative policies to attract high-growth startups and accelerate innovation. But this legislation provides a path forward towards growth and prosperity in our state, and I congratulate everyone involved for getting it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha, for those words and for everything you do. So I want to go back to labor. Kevin addressed what happens when these buildings are rehabbed or built and how they're maintained, kept clean and operated, but they have to get built. And the deal is very simple. If you want our support, if you want our money, if you want help to get a project done, you've got to abide by the strongest labor protections in the country, period. That's the deal. And importantly, what comes first is how this stuff gets built. And nobody knows this better than our next speaker. Please help me welcome the President of the New Jersey Building and Construction Trades Council, Bill Mullen.
It's hard to get used to wearing this thing. I know everybody's cold. Just to say a few words, I see Wayne D'Angelo was here, Mike Maloney. There's other building trades people here. That New Jersey has to attract business, has to keep business. For it to grow, providing jobs, and this incentive program, I think Senate President Sweeney said it got knocked around a little bit, but if people don't live up to the requirements, they should have their feet held to the fire. This legislation couldn't come at a better time for our 150,000 members throughout the state of New Jersey. As all private sector workers have found out, there's a lot of unemployment. People are working less hours. For the construction industry, the jobs that we're finishing up right now or have been in the pipeline for years sometimes. The financing is there, the permits are there, and they're just starting to finish up now. I hate to say this, but looking forward for the next 6 months ahead or a year, for 150,000 men that we represent and women, I think unemployment is right around the corner for us. So this couldn't be come at a better time for our men and women. I'll be very quick. I'd like to thank the Speaker, the Governor, my dear friend, Senate President Sweeney, for coming together and negotiating this legislation. I think the Senate President kind of said it. You know, to compromise is not a sign of weakness. I think we've heard this, we've seen this. But compromise brings us together, and these three individuals with their counterparts have made this happen. So let's sign the legislation and build New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for those words and your leadership. We could have had John Harmon, we could have had Tom Bracken. There's a whole lot of people that we could have, but we wanted to make sure that one of the chambers could stand up here on behalf of all of the chambers. And it is my honor to introduce the president of the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce, Priti Pandya Patel. Priti.
Happy New Year. First, I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Phil Murphy, Governor Phil Murphy, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, and their wonderful team who's put this event together. My name is Priti Pandya Patel, and I'm the president of the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce. If you recall, our chamber had hosted Governor Phil Murphy back in July 2019 to announce his trade mission to India during that year. Well, many things have changed since then. 2020 has been hard for everyone, no matter what ethnicity, economic status, industry you're working in, especially small, mid-sized businesses, women-owned businesses. But I'm excited to see what this new year will bring. Please be mindful that there still must be more support for, especially for these firms, especially from the federal government. We need to make sure that these firms will survive and be more resilient through the coming years and through the coming months before there's going to be a greater decline. As a community leader, business owner, and longtime resident of New Jersey, it is wonderful to see that this administration has made extra effort to bring these programs to help small business owners like myself within industries while focusing on minority and women-owned firms. The economic recovery programs and tax incentives agreed by the governor and the legislators are a great program to get New Jersey back on track. I'm glad to see more diverse and inclusive programs and focused programs within this bill. It is essential that New Jersey is competitive with initiative programs offered by other states as well. We at the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce have sponsored many virtual webinars in the past year to bring awareness to many of the incentive programs to educate our members. And we'd like to continue with the partnership of the other government agencies, local, federal, and state, beyond 2021 and beyond. On behalf of the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce, the Board of Directors, members, we would like to wish Governor Phil Murphy and his team a safe and successful year ahead. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Priti, and to everybody here, whether you're a legislator, a labor leader, a business leader, an activist, an advocate, this is a big day. So with that, I will sign this bill. We will not do our normal hand the pen off due to the pandemic. We will, I'll shout out who's getting the pen. We'll sanitize them appropriately. Dan's nodding his head. And we'll get them to you, I promise you, sooner than later. Again, it's been a long road, but boy, it feels awfully good to be here, and I want to thank everybody here today, the speakers and those of you who have come out. Many thanks.
Yeah, cool.
If you're wondering why this took a while, there's a reason. Again, we're going to lay the pens out and we'll get them to you later. Does that sound all right? First pen is to Connie Corella. Connie, thank you to you and your family for hosting us so graciously today. Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver.
Your way.
Senate President Steve Sweeney. Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. Senator Teresa Ruiz. Assemblywoman Ileana Pinter-Marin. (32) Kevin Brown. Aisha Glover. Bill Mullen. Priti Panya Patel. Senator Paul Sarlo. I don't see him here, but Assembly Majority Leader Lou Greenwald. Where's Mike? Mike Maloney, this is for you, man. God bless you. Wayne D'Angelo, that's got your name on it. I don't see him. I have not seen. Is Charles Hall here? So Charles Hall, who's president of RWDSU Local 108, Charles Hall. This is now the law of the land. We get a tee shot.